What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
And this week on The Great Debaters, get into some Nas. Alright, Amir, so this week on The Great Debaters, we're getting into Nas. He's been putting out so much great material lately that we had to get into this magic. But first, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one teach one. We appreciate your guys' support in getting us this far, so please hit that subscribe button. Keep Unique Access ENT growing, and we really appreciate your guys' support. Now, Amir, Nas to me is one of the most underrated, underappreciated, under everything, despite his acclaim. I think he still doesn't get enough, and that's why a couple of years ago I did, when he did Lost Tapes, I did a thing saluting him, so you guys can watch that if you haven't already. Please do. I think it's very informative, especially given his run that he's been on lately with Hit-Boy, which is why we're here talking today about Magic. The third release, he had King's Disease 1, King's Disease 2, and then he just put out recently the Magic album EP, whatever it's called these days, and there's no physical copies of it yet, so it's all only stream. But that being said, this is a nice little three-peat that Nas has going on. So when you were getting introduced to the idea or listening to Magic, what were your initial thoughts?
You know, it's interesting because I feel like in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, there was always so much hype for releases. You'd rent out ad space, you'd have like websites dedicated before, you'd have like magazine ads just taken out of certain publications and just all these things, and then like a hype tour and all these things. And now it's like Nas and Hit-Boy, they just drop this album out of nowhere, and we see it time and time again with so many artists, particularly the ones that are, I don't want to say mainstream, but they clearly have a pretty decent sized fan base. They're the ones who are able to pull off. But like back in the day,
pull it off with attention. The lesser known people just put them out, but no one no one pays attention because they're not big. But
that too. So like when Magic came, I think it was like at the very end of 2021, like around Christmas, maybe the day before or the day of, something like that. I was like, oh, nice, this is awesome. I wasn't planning on listening to new Nas, and here we are. And with King's Disease number 1, King's Disease number 2, I did enjoy those projects. And I'm not sure which one I liked more than the other. I thought they were both like pretty close. But Magic, peeped that out. I saw the cover and I was like, okay, well maybe they're gonna throw it back a little bit because this is a younger Nas. I started listening to the album. I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely a pretty strong project, and I think that some of the production on it is different than what we were hearing sonically on the King's Disease 1 and 2s. So let me get into my first track, which is Wu for the Children. So Wu for the Children, obviously he's shouting out Wu-Tang Clan, one of his favorite groups, one of hip-hop's most popular groups as well.
And best.
And definitely one of the best. So Wu-Tang for the Children, really, really, really love this type of beat. It makes me feel some type of way. It does actually, although I'm not saying it sounds like it was made in the 90s, I'd like to say it brings me back to the 90s on like a sonic level, for whatever reason that may be. Maybe it's some of the singing on it in the background I really like. And then just Nas, the way he's rapping, and then he's basically saying like you have to be a special type woman to feel what I like, and special type dude to feel what I like, etc. And then also, I think it's interesting because the song is called Wu for the Children, but he only really mentions Wu-Tang on one line of the album, or one line of the song where he says, I should have had Grammys when ODB said Wu-Tang is for the children. And that's basically like, okay, him talking about, well, he finally won his first Grammy with Hit-Boy on King's Disease 1, and he's basically saying like back in the 90s when ODB ran up on stage and said that, he should have had Grammys then. So he's grateful he has his Grammy now, but he still thinks he should have a few more under his belt, which, you can agree or disagree. I think Nas is well deserving of many awards. But I think that's interesting. I like his wordplay on the song. I like that line. He says, rest in peace, ODB. I just think the song just flows well. I think the chorus with the verses are good. It's short and sweet. And I think Hit-Boy puts a gem on this beat. And I think it's definitely one of my favorite collabs that they have under their belt up to this point, and I'm excited for the next one to see more. But Wu for the Children is my first pick.
Well, my first pick, I I like every song on Magic, so it's hard to be like, oh, whatever. But mine is the first song, Speechless. And this song I love because of how he breaks down the mathematics of the 27-year-old, and he's past that, and all. He's just breaking down a lot of historical stuff and references that are pretty intriguing, in my opinion. And that's one of the strengths of what Nas does, is he kind of juxtaposes these different things that kind of don't make sense or are surprising, I should say, or unexpected. And when he does it, it makes a lot of sense. So that's something Speechless, just right out the gate, is so strong and does it so well. And his flow, his precision, and just the things that he's breaking down that made him speechless, just like he does elsewhere on Ugly, things that are ugly and things that need to be revised or done. Nas, unlike some of his stories where there's a real theme throughout the entire song, these type of songs from Nas, it's more stream of consciousness with a few pockets of thematic through lines. So Speechless, I'll cheat and say Ugly is also one of my favorites too, so I can add another one since we're just doing two, because it's only 9 songs, so it's our top 2 picks. But Speechless, I just think it starts the project off super well. It's a great beat, and then lyrically, just Nas is so powerful, and when he just starts going and like you're really having to pay attention, and then you get lost in the music and you're dissecting the rhymes, it's just a powerful thing, and it can leave you speechless. Like, it's just great, and that's why I think Nas is so underrated, and Nas is somebody that we really need to champion, and he's one of the titans of the game, and has been obviously since he came out. So Speechless is my first pick. What's your second pick, Amir?
So that sets off the album very, very well. Speechless for sure. My second pick would be the Wave God track, which is right after Wu for the Children. That is also the only feature on the album. So I don't know if Nas was trying to like mimic Illmatic in any sort of way, having like one feature and having like a shorter album, just 9 tracks. There's no intro this time because Illmatic had the Genesis intro, so it's 10 tracks but really 9 songs. So I'm not sure if he was trying to mimic that. Obviously he only stuck with Hit-Boy, and then he had Premier help on Wave Gods, which I was grateful for because Wave Gods, I think Premier does so great on that track. I love how he always brings in like the vocal samples and the scratches, so we hear like Snoop, we hear CL Smooth, Cool G Rap. There's others that I'm forgetting as well, but I like how he just brings them in, makes a great chorus. I mean, you can tell a Premier beat from a mile away. I think he's someone who's cemented his sound, and you can just tell from
and the scratching in particular,
and the scratching especially. You know, for 30 plus years, you just know a Premier beat when you hear it. So I love that.
But I thought Hit-Boy did it.
So yeah, Hit-Boy and Premier. Yeah. So both of them. Shout out to both of them. So I was excited for that, to see that on the track list. And we get A$AP Rocky on there too, who has the first verse, which I enjoy his verse. He's also talking about like his Calvin Klein ads and other stuff too. So, you know, he's always on his Pretty Boy Flacco stuff, whatever. But A$AP does well on it. Nas also does well. He shouts out, you know, like he's done throughout his career with Houdini. He's shouting out and other artists. So I just like both of their, not mesh, but both of their energy on the track. I think is good. Their one verse a piece, but I think my favorite part of this song in particular is the DJ Premier feature on it. His scratching, the production. It really also, this one kind of puts me in, like I said, like a 90s kind of vibe, just with the sound that Premier is bringing to it, and that Hit-Boy is also bringing to it. So that's going to be my second pick. Like Soren said, Speechless. If I had to pick a third pick, just super quick, just to name one, I might go like Meet Joe Black or Speechless. Like those two are really, really, really close, but Soren, take it away.
Yeah, so for my second pick on Magic is not Wave Gods, even though I like it, and I like the scratching and everything DJ Premier brings to the table. Mine is actually Dedicated, so I'm going with the first and the last song, with Ugly and Meet Joe Black probably as my other favorites. But The reality is Dedicated does something I love, which is the beat change, and it feels like two different songs in one song, which I'm always a fan of when done well, and in this instance, it definitely is. But I also like the fact that he's speaking about his dedication to rap, because one of the things I remember when Nas was coming out in the mid 90s, and then as his career progressed, everybody was criticizing Nas, like, oh, he doesn't put out enough albums, he doesn't put enough stuff out, he's not dedicated to rap. So obviously I don't know, I haven't talked to Nas about this, even though I've interviewed him over the years, but I wonder, and it just is interesting that he's talking about being dedicated to the game, dedicated to music, dedicated, this is his life. And I think it's also good messaging, and I like it's mainly to, in addition to the lyrical themes, just the unexpectedness of the beat change and the stylistic change that Nas evolves and morphs as the beat changes and evolves too, which is something that I love as it's done throughout rap history since the 80s up till today. So, those are my two picks on Magic. Did you have any thoughts on Dedicated before we wrap it?
I mean, like you said in the beginning of this review or picking our tracks, I mean, there aren't any bad songs on this. I think Nas and Hit-Boy are very good at like, for example, 9 tracks. They know which ones were the ones that they wanted for the album, and I don't think they missed on anything. That being said, I can pick my favorites, but still no weak songs, no weak cuts at all. And me and Soren don't have any of the same, and it's on such a short album. So That just shows how consistent and potent this release is. So big shout out to Nas. Excited for King's Disease number 3 as well. Definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point, Amir, that out of 9 songs, 4 that we picked are 4 different songs, and it just speaks to the potency, the versatility, and the lyrical acumen and the sonic brilliance of Hit-Boy and them as a unit. So I'm very glad that they've got this going on, and I'm looking forward to, like Amir said, King's Disease 3. So that's it on Magic. As always, make sure you hit us up in the comments section. Let us know what your guys' top 2 picks are on Magic. I'm Soren Baker.
Amir Rahimi.
Great debaters, y'all.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
A 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on your MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.